Good morning and welcome back to the NBA Daily presented by eBay. I'm Dave DuFour here with Baraheni and Zena, Keita. Yes, the gang's all here. NBA awards predictions coming up. Good morning, everybody. What's up, guys? Welcome back.
We made
We're
it.
all back together. Yes, it's been a long summer. I mean, we've been texting a bunch and we've talked a few times. We've had meetings, but this is the first time we've all sat around the microphone all summer. Did you guys have a good summer?
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
I love how we talk about summer, by the way. We talk about summer like we're still like in school. Meanwhile, Zena has 8 jobs and worked all summer long. I mean, the WNBA Finals, season. Thankfully, it was a sweep, Zena.
Yeah.
You get like a little bit of a break.
Not yet. Yeah, not yet.
All right, it's going to be a sweep. Excuse me. It's going to be a sweep. Yeah, that's right. We're recording this early, but it's looking like a sweep right now. Yeah. So you get off a little bit early.
It's 7, but alas.
Well, it's tough. You do anything fun?
Man, a lot of sightseeing, got to be outdoorsy, go to, Vancouver, Calgary, Banff, a lot of Canadian spots, which I would recommend. Beautiful areas.
A lot of Canadians staying in Canada, seeing what they've got. It's weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Odd how that's
the
happening.
benefits.
Yeah. It's funny.
I've missed you guys.
So we've done all of our team previews somehow, and this is season 2 of the show. If you guys have been here, this is actually my 7th season at The Athletic, and there's a lot of listeners that have been here the entire time. So thanks for sticking around if you've been around the whole time. If this is year 2 for you, thanks for coming back. If this is your first time listening, welcome. This is the NBA Daily. We do this show 5 nights a week, and we add the Slam and Jam on Saturdays. We've got the Wednesday morning shoot around, and we'll start that once the season kicks off. That'll be live on our YouTube every week, but we'll also throw the audio into the feed. And that's a show where we're just going to kind of kick back, relax a little bit, and kick around, a little bit longer on some topics and goof off some. But this is the NBA awards preview. We take this very seriously. We've all been taking rigorous notes throughout the summer, doing these previews. And guys, we're going to start with the big one because MVP is really the award everybody cares about. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of awards that we're going to say, oh, we already know the winner ahead of time. But I find this year's MVP field fascinating. I don't think Nikola Jokic can win the award no matter what the Nuggets do. Wow. I just don't think that because he has had the best season anyone's ever had 5 years in a row. And he doesn't have 5 MVPs.
Right.
I find it hard to believe that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander can do enough to win back-to-back MVPs after the crazy year that he and the Thunder had last year. So, guys, with that in mind, and maybe you guys disagree with me, but with that in mind, let's talk MVP. Zena, I'm going to give you the first crack at it. Who's going to win?
I mean, I feel like I'm a little boring. I agree with you. I did not choose Joker or Shai. I chose Luka. Luka has the stage set up for him. Literally, LeBron has warmed up the crowd, told a few jokes, and then went off onto the side of the stage and said, Luka, take it away. You got the spotlight. Everything has been set up for Luka to take over.
Doing Hennessy commercials.
I mean, look at the way that, even fantasy commercials. Like literally, I'm looking at how his body is ripped coming into this season, how much more serious it seems that he's taking this year to prove a point, not only to himself, but especially to his former team, that I'm capable of leading a team and particularly leading a team to a championship. And he's just going to keep building on the numbers that he had last year. Like looking up his stats, looking for this, it's like 38% from deep, 60% true shooting. We know Luka can do that, but it's also those 10 assists. It's the rebounds as well. He does it all. He was top 3 in all those major box stats. Like that's exactly what Luka has to do in order for the Lakers to be relevant. And we know he can do this. We're not going to be shocked when he does this. And he's now got tools around him as well to help him. So, I think he's MVP. I think he could have been MVP or in the conversation for MVP last year. And now he's, I don't know how many pounds down, just add to whatever pounds he lost, add that into the weight for the conversation for him to be MVP.
They need to be the 3 seed for this to happen, right? Like
Yes.
at least.
Yeah, I agree.
And my one concern there is that they don't have the shooting. The Lakers don't have, this is not quite a Luka Doncic team yet. As like DeAndre Ayton is going to be a lob threat, and obviously Jackson Hayes is, but they just don't spread the floor quite as much as you want around Luka at this point. I mean, it's still early, and we know that this team makes deals.
Yeah, they have to play a different style than Luka is used to. And I think part of that is the shooting. It's also like they have a lot of ball handlers in Austin Reeves. LeBron's still going to want to handle the ball. And so how does Luka play off of the ball a little bit more? I think that is an interesting task for JJ Redick. I agree with the narrative around Luka because skinny Luka, we're heading into a season where there's tons of anticipation for his first full year with the Lakers. I think it makes tons of sense for him to be one of the front runners if it's not Shea or Jokic. By the way, the NBA GM survey seems to disagree with us because they think it's either going to be Jokic or Shea when it comes to the MVP.
Wow.
So just putting it out.
I can see more of, it's interesting. I can see more of an argument for Jokic because I just feel like it's one similar to Luka. He's just going to continue to produce at an elite level.
Right. Yeah.
And we're just going to keep getting absurd stat lines out of him. I do feel like maybe the league might catch up to Shea, right? Especially after seeing a 7-game series, in which, don't get me wrong, he was still elite in his production, but people were able to figure out how do we guard him? How do we kind of slow him down? And how do we lessen the amount of fouls that he can kind of get going into the paint? So I feel like people catch up with Shea. I don't know if anybody's catching up with Jokic.
Well, never. I mean, Jokic will eventually slow down, and that's how people will catch up to him. And that you know what I mean? He's one of those guys.
That's a good point.
By the way, we're looking at like the two best players in the NBA right now. That's who we're talking. You know what I mean? So the margin is very. Also,
this is a very narrative-driven award, which is where I'm coming at it from. Who's your pick? We got Luka, which I think is. I mean, he's probably third in the betting odds, I would guess, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Okay, so this is my idea. Last year, Shea won MVP for a litany of reasons. Obviously, the Thunder winning a ton of games. He was the title winner for scoring. He led the league in scoring, and that was a huge part of it. His efficiency was massive. The three-point shooting was there. I think there is a narrative for another scorer in the Western Conference to win MVP. A guy who people love, by the way, and that is Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this could be a year where he ends up stepping up as a playmaker for the Timberwolves. Everybody sort of counts out the Timberwolves too, so narrative-wise, it feels like if they end up as a top 3 seed in the West, people will point to Ant as the reason for that. And so I think, look, if he leads the league in scoring, he's efficient. His assists go up. He's still shooting the ball very well. The pull-up jumper is still there. There's a pretty clear path for Ant to win MVP this season.
Can the Timberwolves be a top 3 seed in the West? Is really because, in my opinion, that's what you're going to have to do, right? Like
100%.
The narrative stuff goes out the window with Jokic and Shea because those teams win, and so I do think that they are the front runners, like in real life, and there's a good chance that one of those guys wins. But I think that if you're going to be someone to break into the top 3 like that, your team's got to be there too. Yeah. This can't be a thing where he scores.
No,
let's say
you have to be winning
a game and they're the 4 seed or 5 seed. I think he's got to lead the league in scoring and they got to be a top 3 seed. But I don't know. Do you think
I do respect
Nikhil? Go ahead, Zena. Sorry.
No. Mention that point about Nikhil. I just mean,
I don't know. Like, how do you feel about the Timberwolves? Because I do think that this is also partially you got to win.
That's what I was going to actually. We're connected here, Dave, because literally we know that the historical criteria for MVP is best player on top 3 best teams. I'm not sure how that's all broken down, but that usually is the case. And without a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, you're putting a lot of pressure on Ant to be the focal point in the offense and defensively as well. And we know what that can do to players that have to try and play both sides of the ball. And while I do love the idea that Anthony Edwards is going to come in here with a big chip on his shoulder, after several years of not making it past the Western Conference Finals and losing talent around him that was, helping him. I do feel like that's going to be gas in his engine to be able to push him forward. But I don't know if he has enough around him for the entire car to work. And that's where I'm like, could they do top 4, top 5? Sure. I don't know if top 3 will happen though. That's tough.
That's my biggest thing about Ant is, can that team be good enough?
Yeah, I'll just to, I guess, push back on that. I do think the Timberwolves will be good enough. Sure. I think the loss of Nickeil Alexander-Walker will be insulated by some of the younger guys stepping up. I like Jalen Clark. I like Terrence Shannon Jr. Those guys will be able to kind of facilitate some of those minutes. And look, a full season where they get a training camp to figure out how to play with Julius Randle full time. They didn't get that last year, and they were still a very good team. I think in the West, their continuity will help them end up becoming a top 3 seed. That's the vision, at least, I think for Ant winning MVP.
That 3 spot is wide open, by the way. I think that, we don't know what the Lakers are going to fully look like, but, they could easily be there. Houston could be there. I mean, it's OKC, Denver, the 2 best teams in the NBA.
Okay.
Yeah, period. They are the 2 best teams in the NBA. If they meet each other in the conference finals, that's the real finals, period. Unless, Cleveland or New York trades for Giannis, in which case, they have a chance. But OKC and Denver, to me, they're a head above everyone else. Yeah, no one can break into that category without a trade, in my opinion. I don't think any team can be good enough. Now, doesn't mean that they're unbeatable. Minnesota has shown that they can beat, in my opinion, both of these teams, but especially Denver. And so, but that 3 seed, it could be the Lakers, could be the Timberwolves, could be Houston, depending on, how their season breaks, which obviously the Van Vliet injury kind of, I think, muddles that up a little bit. Right. I don't know. I mean, depending on what happens with Kawhi Leonard and the entire NBA investigation, it could be the Clippers as the 3 seed. And that would be wild. What if Kawhi Leonard, guys, has a renaissance season, plays 70 games, scores 30 a night, and the Clippers are the 3 seed?
Well, has aspiration paid him everything? Are we sure?
That is an aspirational goal, I would say.
That is. Ooh, I love the puns. Okay. Wait, Dave. So with that, breaking down your top 3, who's your MVP pick?
Well, I'm not in the Western Conference, guys. I'm going to go to the East, where it's a little bit easier, I think. Okay. And no team would have more narrative juice for an MVP candidate than the New York Knicks. I think Jalen Brunson has a chance. The Knicks are going to be one of the top 2 teams in the East. He's going to have the ball a ton. He was in the mix last year for the MVP. I think the narrative, he's a small guard. He does it hard. He basically plays basketball like he's boxing for 12 rounds. I mean, the guy is kind of crazy. And he hits more clutch shots than anybody else. He scores more clutch points than anyone else. So he has all these big moments. I think with the improvements that we should see out of the Mike Brown offense there, some of these buckets are going to be easier for him. He's going to be a little bit more open, maybe get some catch and shoot. I could see him being the MVP this year.
I'm not going to lie. When you said the Eastern Conference, I thought your pick was going to be Giannis with the Bucks, because that is, narrative driven, the last dance, if you will, for him and the Bucks.
I'm nervous about Giannis coming off of Eurobasket and being sick in training camp. Yeah. I just think that's not a great sign. And also the other buzz on social media.
Right. I was opposite you. So when you said Eastern Conference, and then you started kind of giving the background, I'm not going to lie. I thought you were talking about Trae Young.
Oh, wow. That would be amazing. Listen, if Trae Young has the MVP season.
So let's think about it, right? Let's think about what we've said already. We've said top 3, right? Maybe we've basically talking about top 3 in the conferences versus the league. But in the Eastern Conference, I would not be surprised if Atlanta ends up being top 3 in the East.
Right? Trae could go 30 and 12.
What'd you say?
Trae Young could average 30 and 12.
Absolutely. Right. And when you were talking about, big time shots, we know he's good for that. Ball in his hand, we know he's good for that. The assists, he'll be the middle spoke, like the middle. What is the term in a wheel in the middle?
The hub.
The hub.
Thank you.
Middle spoke is something else, but I agree.
Yeah. But he's going to be the hub in the midst of all those spokes that Atlanta just acquired.
That's what it is.
And he's going to be able to make this wheel turn. And I don't know. I feel like Trae Young might have a say. If you're going to put Jalen Brunson in there, I'm putting in Trae Young.
Wow.
That's interesting. Now, look, Jalen Brunson was in the MVP vote last year, so it's not that much of a leap. But if Trae Young gets MVP votes, it will be the biggest shock in recent NBA
guys.
history.
These guys got to play defense.
This was supposed to be my bold prediction. I should have kept that. All right, let's keep it going.
Oh yeah, keep it. Okay, let's do this one. Will be a little bit quicker. Defensive Player of the Year. I think we all probably have picked Victor Wembanyama because it just doesn't feel fair. Who would you pick if Victor Wembanyama wasn't an option?
Easy.
I'll go ahead and I'll jump on this. I think Wemby will win, but I think that is discrediting Chet Holmgren for the type of season that he can have if he's fully healthy. I think he can go toe-to-toe with him and try to win the Defensive Player of the Year if both of those guys are healthy. I mean, the Thunder probably are going to be the best defensive team again in the NBA. Chet, in terms of defensive field goal percentage, rim protection, advanced stats, they all love him. And so I don't know. I think Chet has a good chance, even if Wemby has a fully healthy season. So
he could have
those
won
two
it
going toe to toe. Yeah,
he could have won it last year.
Yeah,
exactly. He anchored the NBA's #1 defense. And even when he wasn't having a great scoring night, you didn't have to worry about his defense.
100%.
Elite rim protection. He was switching on to guards, right? Like he was containing guards as well. So I love the fact that he has the versatility. And now maybe because he knows that everyone's like, Victor's got it. Run away. That's it. Maybe he's like, no. Let me put a little bit more highlight blocks.
You know what? I'm actually surprised we didn't mention Wemby for MVP.
Funny. I just don't think the Spurs are going to be good enough as a team to get him there. But he could have numbers that are ridiculous enough.
Yeah.
To put him there. But my non-Wemby what about Dyson Daniels? I think that with Atlanta's going to get more attention this year. They're going to be a better team. I think that he could be a guy that, he just wreaks havoc on passing lanes. He's so good at guarding a guy straight up. There's just not a lot of guys in the league that guard that way. I mean, he seems like he should be playing for OKC. And
there's not a lot of guards in the league. There's not a lot of guards in the league that watch film like he does. Like I've been able to watch a few YouTube clips of him talking about how you play high side on someone's hip and what you're looking for, the cues to pay attention to. And he's so immensely detailed. I'm going to let y'all finish, but I realized we just disrespected the hell out of somebody.
Oh, I feel like I know who it is. Is it Draymond?
Yes. No.
Draymond? Oh, I was about to say.
Evan Mobley, y'all.
Right.
What are we doing?
I don't know. I just thought you were going to go with the Draymond
in the paint. Like, what are we talking about?
Well, this more started because we just figured Wemby. This is going to be the Wemby Award. They. By the way, the Spurs, they updated the listing on the website officially 7'5".
Yeah.
Officially 7'5". Okay. So
that's nuts.
Yeah, insane how tall that guy is. Okay, this one a little bit. I think this one larger field. Most improved player. Now this is tricky because, in my opinion, most improved. It shouldn't be a guy who's like a top 5 pick, and it's like his 3rd season, and he finally has a good year. But it
always ends up being something like that.
Yeah. But what if it wasn't? And I think that we probably all are going into it the same way. So, who's your choice for most improved this year? Who's going to win it?
I'm glad you set it up that way because if you look at the award over the last few years, like honestly, the last 10 years, it's always been the guy who gets his first All-Star nod. Dyson Daniels last year was sort of an exception in that regard. I'm going to go ahead and say Andrew Nembhard because I think it's opportunity.
That's mine too.
Oh, really? Okay, there we go. Yeah. So opportunity equals basically more usage, more shots. He's going to have tons of responsibility over this Pacers offense. And without Tyrese Halliburton, I think he's going to have to be more aggressive as a scorer. Yep. I think he has the capability to be more aggressive as a scorer. And the playmaking's still there. He will be one of the best two-way guards in the Eastern Conference just because of how good he is defensively. I think there's a pretty clear case if the Pacers are winning basketball games, especially to start the season, he could become an all-star caliber player. So Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah, I mean, he's the second most reliable offensive creator that they've got right now.
Probably
behind Pascal Siakam. And I've mentioned this before, but I think that, just the touches that he's going to get, they liked having him initiate the offense during the playoffs. Halliburton was playing off the ball a lot. I just think that with the way that he can operate in the pick and roll, with the way that he can literally score in the mid range, it's wild to me that a guy his size can score in the mid range like that in the NBA. But he's got that great first step. He's stronger than he looks.
Very strong.
And then the defense. I think he's got a shot. If they're winning games, which they might, their style of play lends itself to winning regular season basketball games anyway.
Totally.
If they win games, there's a chance he's like down the list of all-star guys because the East is going to be down. There's a bunch of guys that are perennial all-stars that just aren't there. That's why I went with Nembhard. Zena, did you go with Nembhard or go with somebody else?
Okay, what's so funny about how synced we all are, I did originally go with Nembhard. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I was thinking, I was like trying to look up how he could improve in terms of his stats. And I think you guys have laid it out perfectly about all the things that are going to be great evidence as to why he's going to be better. He's going to have more opportunities with the ball in his hands. He's obviously everything's going to be really rotating around him without Tyrese. But the more and more I thought about it, I was like, Ben Mathurin is right there.
Wow.
This is a guy
yeah, it's true.
that
it is
Rick
true.
Carlisle has literally said this offseason, he expects him to start.
Mm-hmm.
He expects him to have the ball in his hands a lot more. Of course, we know Ben Mathurin is good for the isolation scoring. He is an unbelievable playmaker. He comes off the bench for Indiana as like the spark. He ain't probably going to be coming off the bench more. He's going to have a lot more burden on his shoulder to be a focal point in their offense and be that off-ball creator now that Tyrese is out. So I'm like, I love Andrew Nembhard as a pick. I mean, I literally almost made it. Yeah. But I think that Ben will be the most improved.
This is
he had career numbers last year. Points, rebounds, assists, high. And he was doing that off the bench. So, I mean,
he gets to the line,
say, Nembhard,
puts pressure on the defense.
Mathurin, Canada. Just want to put that out there. Guys.
No, this is a Pacers podcast now at this point, pretty much. Looking like last season.
We should probably name a couple of the other players that might crack into this award. Franz Wagner for the Orlando Magic, I think has a good chance.
His shooting is going to be the thing that holds him back, right?
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
You're about to say mine. Go ahead.
Amen Thompson. I think he's a favorite on basically all betting websites.
Yeah.
You got to be able to look at Amen. And then the other one who I think is kind of under the radar here, Jalen Johnson for the Atlanta Hawks. He only played in 30-ish games last year. We remember him from the NBA Cup. He was awesome in those games. If he has a most improved
front runner last year. Totally. And I do he was on my short list, but I also had the thought that, okay, well, he was a most improved front runner last year. Yeah, so he's already on the radar for folks that are voting. So maybe it takes him off the most improved list. I'm trying to think about how people are approaching this, but I do think Jalen, again, very high on the Hawks, which we'll come back to after the break. Okay, time for everyone's favorite award, the How Did This Team Get So Good So Fast award, the Coach of the Year award, which is really an award about bucking expectations or being the best team in the league. And you know what, guys, I'm going to throw mine out there first because we've talked a lot about the Atlanta Hawks, and I think Quinn Snyder has a really good shot for being Coach of the Year. I like it. This is a team that it seems like he has had a hand in helping to build. We all expect them to be better. If they're the 3 seed, I think that they've got a shot. Mike Brown is probably high up the list too, just because he's new coach of the Knicks and they could improve. But yeah, I'm going with Quinn Snyder. I think I really believe in what the Hawks put together.
I love that pick. That was actually my pick as well. We know that Quinn Snyder is very offensive focused, and look at all the tools that he has available to him now. I feel like they could be top 5 in the NBA offensive rating. Absolutely. I think they could put up some monster numbers. And I'm going to add one more since we are already connected on Quinn Snyder. Jamal Mosley.
Nice.
Of the Magic. If Orlando finds a way to break through in the East, get to be like top 5, top 6, Jamal, I wouldn't even have to put him that high, but top 5, top 6.
I think they need to be top 4 for Jamal Mosley.
I would even say top 3, to be honest with you. Yeah.
The expectations for the Magic.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. I think it's just a little bit different. But I will say this. I was looking at the wins and losses. Orlando won 41 games last season. If they get to 50 games this year, I think Jamal Mosley's in the mix. And Atlanta, 40 games last year. Obviously, if they get to 50 games, I think they're in the mix. It's more about that, right? It's that jump from one year to the next that seems to really push 100%. The coach of the year stuff. Jamal Mosley, though, we'll talk about this later. I think this is like a make or break season, actually, for him in Orlando.
Ooh, keep that.
So exactly. Yeah. I'll keep that for a later episode. Who you got?
I think those are both really good options, and they're pretty likely. I also, in that same vein, expectation wise, and because I've been around this team for a little bit over the last couple of weeks, watching them and how they respond, I think Darko Rajakovic for the Toronto Raptors has a pretty decent chance, especially if we're talking about bucking expectations, because this is a team that is expected to win like 38, 39. Most people slate them as like the 9 or 10 seed, maybe 11 seed.
As Baraheni, who thinks they can win 45 games.
Except for me. Yes. Yeah. I think I'm definitely more optimistic on the Toronto Raptors than most people, but I think a lot of that has to do with their coaching. And I think Darko is a really good coach. He runs a good offensive system. He gets the most out of his younger players. I think he has a pretty good chance if the Raptors, again, a team who won 30 games last year, if they end up winning, like I said, 45 games, that's a 15-win improvement. Games. Coach of the year. It's a pretty clear path if that happens. But something along the lines of that, if they improve by like 10 or more games win-wise, I think Darko has a pretty good chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be one of these teams that's going to break through from being outside of the playoffs into the playoffs or play in. OKC, you can take them out probably. I think you probably can take out Adelman in Denver just because the Nuggets have been a good team and they just got better over the summer.
But what if they win like 70 games? What if the Nuggets win 70 games?
If they win 70, I don't know.
I don't know.
I just don't think Jokic. I think Jokic kind of steals votes from the coach of the year at this point.
I'm also surprised we haven't mentioned Mike Brown. Like if the Knicks win
Dave did.
Yeah,
I
threw him out there as like, but also the Knicks are already a really good team. And so like taking them to the next level, if they're the 1 seed, he could probably get some votes. I'll tell you who else. And we talked about the Lakers a little bit with Luka. JJ Redick might get some buzz, right? I mean, he's going to run his offense through Chat GPT, it seems like. But he is someone that I do think will have like the narrative, and I do think the Lakers are going to be pretty good. And hell, maybe the Warriors go nuts and Steve Kerr. But
JJ Redick burning trees in the Amazon to get an out of timeout play. That's hilarious, man.
That's such a Canadian response of you, and I very much respect it. Thank you. On the Darko route, like if we're going to have a Darko equivalent, in my opinion, on the Western side, Chauncey Billups.
I thought about that too. Yeah.
Like Portland could make a jump. Portland could do some things. Portland could surprise some folks. And I think the same thing of like, as soon as you said Darko makes use of his young talent and really emboldens them to come out and play well, I think Chauncey Billups does the same thing. And he's going to have to do that this year, especially. So just adding that in too.
Okay, 6th man of the year, guys. This is an award that's a little tricky because of the way the injuries work in the NBA now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough one. I feel like mine's a little bit basic, so I'll start there. I'm going back to Atlanta. I'm going to say Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I just think that is a role that Atlanta has not found someone to fill. That backup point guard who can play next to Trey also. I think Nickeil is kind of a perfect fit there, especially with his defense, but also he's got the offensive game for it. Atlanta's going to be a better team. This is kind of how these awards are picked. What about you guys?
I feel like we've had some like references here to my Bay Area affiliation. This is the one time I'm going to cash in on that. I think Jonathan Kuminga has the opportunity to be sixth man of the year. When you think about unction, all right, some wisdom being had on the Warriors roster, the oldest potential starting lineup in the league, you can imagine that those guys are going to take some seats throughout the season. Yeah. And they're going to have to count on a Jonathan Kuminga to come in and do damage. And we know he's capable of it when he has 20 more minutes. His stats are out the roof. So it's like, I think if you give him the stage and you consider the fact that these guys are going to need a little bit more time to rest or whatever it is over the course of the season, Jonathan Kuminga has the opportunity for him to step in and get that sixth man of the year award. So that's
what does that look like? What does that season look like? Give me some numbers on Kuminga as sixth man of the year. Kuminga. Because I actually I watched the preseason game the other night, and this is like the oldest starting lineup since one of those Utah Jazz teams toward the end with Karl Malone and John Stockton, probably like the last. Pretty old. I tend to agree with you that Kuminga is oddly important to a team that has all these veterans. So what do the numbers look like from him if he's sixth man of the year?
Ooh,
he's 18 a game?
Yeah, he averaged 15 over the last couple. Yeah.
Thank you. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say he averaged 15 last year, 16 the year before that. Did it on like 52% shooting the year in 2023, 2024. So like something along the lines of that, but maybe a little bit more scoring, right? Yeah.
I think it's got to be aligned with, when Draymond went out last season, or even the year before that when Draymond went out with the situation with Nurkic and not Nurkic.
Yeah.
Was it Nurkic?
Altercation.
Yeah, it was.
Altercation.
Yeah. Gobert, Nurkic, et cetera. The numbers that Jonathan Kuminga was putting up then, he's going to put those numbers up. And that's 18 plus, 5 more rebounds in those 20 or more minutes. Like, I think he's going to have to be in that range. And it's really, we'll see how people vote. I want to see his defensive rating number go lower. I say go down, but like be better, right? Improve. I think that's going to be a number one thing for Kuminga because people always complain about, is he paying attention? Is he in the right spot at the right time? So anyways, I've gone long enough.
No,
taking up the Bay Area here, but
I don't hate it. Look, I think that if he can do that, that's a great sign for the Warriors. I worry about the individual creation from Kuminga as coming off the bench. They don't have. This is one of the things about this Warriors team is they don't have a lot of creators that they could pair with these guys. It's why, and some of their roster stuff is a little bit funky. Like there's not going to be a lot of times where you can play Kuminga with the best players on the team because of Draymond and Jimmy Butler and the odd fit with Kuminga there. I think that'll hurt him.
They also need someone who can get to the rim, and he's the best guy on the team at getting.
He's the only guy who can put his head down. Well,
I would say he's the second best behind Jimmy.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like the nights that Jimmy's not available, you need that. On the nights where you're playing the Portlands and you're playing these younger athletic teams, explosive teams, you're going to need a Jonathan Kuminga. The Portland Trailblazers, Golden State Warriors preseason game just happened. And you're seeing Shaedon Sharpe and Jonathan Kuminga meet at the rim. Like
it was awesome.
Those type of matchups, that's what they're going to need him for. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for that this season.
Yeah. That's who you got.
Mine is a pretty basic answer. I think whoever comes off the bench for the Boston Celtics, whether it's Peyton Pritchard or Anthony Simons, I don't know which one of those guys
there's
it'll
no
be.
way it's got to be Anthony Simons.
Then it's Anthony Simons who wins this.
It's got to be. Jay King said that he expects Peyton Pritchard to start.
Okay.
I can't imagine they're not going to start.
I think Peyton Pritchard has earned that.
Basically, my theory behind this is like the Celtics offense is, juiced era baseball type of thing where they are just going to try and score as much as possible. And so if this is a scoring bias award and we're talking about points per game, one of these two guys is going to average like 18 off of the bench. Yeah.
Are you saying that the Celtics might attempt a pump and dump with Anthony Simons? Bring him off the bench, say, score 25 a game, Ship them off at the
100%.
trade deadline. It's like Billy
Yes.
Beane used to do this with closers in baseball, right? Like, because old school baseball GMs would look at stats like saves, like they mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very smart. I see what you're cooking up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're doing there. Okay. This one, last one here. Rookie of the year. We all kind of probably feel like Cooper Flagg's going to win it. He does seem to be far and away the most NBA ready rookie and seems to be the healthiest of the NBA ready rookies. Give me somebody that isn't Cooper Flagg. I mean, first of all, actually, let's talk about Cooper Flagg. Have you guys seen him at all outside of Summer League?
I did. I watched their first game against OKC, and man, he was phenomenal on both ends. OKC didn't play any of their real guys for what it's worth. He was going up against Brooks Barnheiser, which, by the way, shout out to Brooks Barnheiser. Good player. Seems like OKC drafted another guy. But Cooper was awesome. They were obviously asking him to carry the ball, bring it up, play point guard, make decisions. And on top of that, he was wildly good defensively. The size that the Mavericks have, this is the other part to this.
They're massive.
They might actually be a very, very good team this year.
It's
and
changed
Cooper's,
the preseason has changed my opinion of the Dallas Mavericks because of how big they are.
Yeah.
They're huge.
They are massive.
They're giving monsters.
I still am worried about the dribbling, but D'Angelo Russell, I do think that was a really good pickup for them.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper Flagg looks smooth. He's got a lot of Jason Tatum to his game.
He does.
I like that.
And I did not expect to see that, especially
now, is
like
that a
this
Duke
early.
thing? Is that how Duke recruited him?
No. It's. I think it's just kind of the way that he uses his body. Actually,
like the best case for Cooper is that
wide shoulders.
He's still putting up numbers, but the Mavs are also going to win, so nobody else is going to have an argument over him, right?
Yeah.
So.
But all right, who else has a shot? Like, is Dylan Harper going to be in the mix at all?
Who?
Dylan Harper going to be in the mix
at all? That's a good one.
I think it'll be tough for Dylan because of how stacked the guards are for the Spurs.
I was just going to say, is there opportunity for him?
Yeah.
The backcourt is so saturated in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And you do need to be able to stand out. Like Stephon Castle, was able to have space to operate because they didn't have, for most of the season, they didn't have a Fox available to them, right? Now they've got a Fox, they've got Stephon, they've got so many people available to handle the ball. And that's what Dylan's supposed to do. And I don't know where he fits other than as a backup point guard. So
this is the same reason I'm kind of wary on VJ Edgecombe, which by the way, I'm very high on VJ as a player. The Sixers have a lot of guards also. And so, between Quentin Grimes, Tyrese Maxey, Jared McCain, who's hurt right now, but will come back. Like, where's the opportunity going to be there? I think VJ will play, but if you're thinking of like numbers, box score, etc., I don't know if that will be loud enough for him to win Rookie of the Year.
Do you think that his defensive capability can help him find more minutes?
Yeah, for sure.
Than the guards that you just listed.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally. And he can play a little bit bigger than those guys too. So that helps.
Exactly. Yeah. So on that note, someone that has space, seems like a lot of space to figure it out, Ace Bailey.
I
like that you brought it up. Yes.
In Utah, I really think that he's going to have opportunities to make mistakes and come back. And Will Hardy's a really good youth coach as well. So I feel like he'll be able, they'll be able to develop him. And from what we've heard about him, he's incredibly, he's incredibly observant and he's trying to learn. And I know there was a lot of, melee around how the whole draft situation happened. And I don't know if that's in his mind or not, but from what Utah media are talking about, all of that is behind him. He is just locked in on trying to be a good contributor to this team. And I think he has an opportunity.
You got to play basketball now. I mean, you can, trying to affect where you're drafted is one thing, but now you're there, you got to show up and play. He, put up 25 in a preseason game the other night against the Rockets, taking a lot of shots, which to me, that's the biggest thing with a rookie in summer league and in preseason. I don't even care if you make them.
Take them.
Just take them. Are you shooting?
Right?
Right. Because eventually, these guys have knocked down so many shots in the gym that eventually once they find a rhythm in these NBA games, the speed of the game is so much faster. Not to go into these cliches, but it is true. Like once the game slows down for them, if the guys who have been confident and shooting, they just shoot better. So yeah, I like the Ace Bailey pick, and you're right. Like, he's going to have a chance because that team stinks. Any wild card awards that maybe we didn't hit or didn't think of? Any first time All-Star coming out off the top of your head?
Ooh.
Clutch player of the year will be interesting. I mean, Jalen Brunson will be in that category. I think he'll do well. I'm curious how many of these awards Wemby can get involved in, you know? Like, what is the max capacity of how many awards? Most improved,
Wait,
MVP,
what could he do to win most improved? I don't, I made an argument. The year Giannis won his first MVP, I made the argument that he should have won most improved that season too, because he made such a huge leap that MVP season. But Giannis is, that's a massive leap that he made. What if, I don't know, if Wemby's in the MVP mix, maybe we could start making the argument that most improved should also go on his mantle.
I just don't know how, right. I just don't know what statistically he can.
It's all vibes. Most improved is very much a vibes award.
It is vibes. Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, all right. It's going to be a great season. Those were our NBA awards predictions. Leave yours in the comments on YouTube, or, hit us up through email or over on social media. Like and subscribe to this video and this channel on YouTube. Give us a 5-star review on iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're back every single day. NBA season coming up fast. Be back tomorrow with we're going to talk about who's under the most pressure, and we're going to give our bold predictions. So stay tuned for that.